Twisted clues. Detective John Adams was used to the grisly scenes of murder investigations. He had seen his fair share of gruesome crimes in his time on the force, but this one was different. The victim was a wealthy businessman named Robert Johnson, found dead in his luxurious apartment with no signs of forced entry and no obvious cause of death. John knew that this was going to be a tough case. He had no motive, no suspects, and no clear indication of how Robert had died. All he had were a few cryptic clues and a lot of dead ends. The first thing John did was canvass the building, talking to residents and gathering any information they could offer. No one had seen or heard anything unusual in the days leading up to Robert's death, and no one had seen any suspicious people coming or going from the building. Next, John turned his attention to Robert's personal life. He talked to his friends, family, and business associates, looking for any potential enemies or motives for murder. But again, he came up empty-handed. Robert was well-liked and respected, with no known enemies or conflicts. Frustrated and running out of leads, John decided to take a different approach. He went back to the crime scene and carefully combed through every inch of the apartment, looking for anything that might have been missed. It was then that he noticed something odd about the bookshelves in Robert's study. One of the books was slightly out of place, and when John pulled it out, he found a small piece of paper hidden behind it. The paper contained a cryptic message, written in what appeared to be code. John spent hours trying to decipher it, but it was like nothing he had ever seen before. Determined to crack the code, John reached out to a former college roommate who was now a cryptographer. With his friend's help, he was finally able to decode the message, which read, "The truth lies in the shadows." John knew that this message was a clue, but he had no idea what it meant. He turned to his colleagues in the department, asking for their help in deciphering the cryptic message. One of his colleagues pointed out that the message might be a reference to the city's underground world of organized crime and illegal activity. Following this lead, John began to investigate the city's criminal underworld. He knew that it was a dangerous path, but he was desperate for any kind of lead. After weeks of digging, he finally stumbled upon a connection between Robert and a notorious crime boss named Vincent Russo. John knew that he was on the right track, but he also knew that Vincent Russo was not someone to be trifled with. He put together a team of detectives and planned a raid on Russo's compound, hoping to find evidence of Robert's murder. The raid was a success, and John's team found enough evidence to arrest Russo and several of his associates for Robert's murder. It turned out that Robert had stumbled upon one of Russo's illegal operations and threatened to go to the police. Russo saw him as a liability and had him killed. As John watched Russo and his associates being led away in handcuffs, he felt a sense of satisfaction and relief. He had finally solved the case, and justice had been served. But he also felt a sense of unease. He had followed a twisted path to get to the truth, and he couldn't help but wonder what other dark secrets lay hidden in the shadows of the city.